First of all, I was super excited about traveling and being on the road, discovering all these different new places. And secondly, I also was traveling with my partner, and he had a completely different job to me. I came from the corporate world. I had always been in an office, and he is a travel blogger. And I was like, please teach me everything that you know about, social media, blogging. So I was very much focused on that, and also learning all those new skills that eventually helped me as well, build up my own platforms with my line of work.
Hi everyone, we are in for a special treat today. We're going to talk about so many things about investing, about diversification, and how you can actually not just grow what you have, but also protect it. We have Kathy Depaulo. She's the founder of Wonders Wealth joining us in the show. Kathy, it's an honor to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
For those who don't know you and are hearing you for the first time, can you tell us a brief background about yourself, what you've done in the past, what you're doing now, and let's start everything off from there.
Sure. So I'm Kathy. I've been a digital nomad for almost 4 years. I have founded Wonders Wealth, which is an international consulting firm. Basically, I help everyone with an international lifestyle with the legal logistics of their international lifestyle. So from taxes over to their business structure, over to their bank accounts, citizenship, second residencies, all of it, if you're basically wanting to become a global citizen or do have already a very international lifestyle. And from my background, I used to work as a tax lawyer. And then I decided to go on a holiday to Bali, which is kind of the digital nomad hub of at least Asia. And I met so many entrepreneurs. And when they asked me what I was doing, I said, well, I'm actually a tax lawyer back home. And everyone was like, oh my God, I need your help. Can you help me? I don't know where to pay taxes. I don't know what to do with my taxes. And I started thinking about it. And I thought, I actually kind of know, I have a solution for you. Let's sit down, let's talk about it. And after a couple of people, I was like, okay, I think I need to start charging for my services. And that's how Wonders Wealth was formed.
That's what's so interesting about entrepreneurship is that when you find something that you're passionate about and you're good at, and also that those two is something that's benefiting a lot of people, that it's something that will make an impact. I think that's a very, very good way to start a business, and I think that's what you're doing right now. I want to start it off with what you said, that you were a lawyer first when you started out. Being a lawyer in anywhere in the world is something that's very, very secure. It's something that pays very, very well. What pushed you to give that all up and start doing your own thing and traveling the world? Was there like an idea that suddenly, okay, I just leave this all behind and then just go do my own thing as well?
First of all, I was very exhausted. When I became a lawyer, I had studied already 7 years, and I actually grew up in Switzerland. So I did my undergraduate in Switzerland and my postgraduate in Australia, where I then became a lawyer. And after those 7 years, I was pretty exhausted and felt like I needed a break. Hence why I wanted to go and travel and explore all different kinds of places. And on the other hand, when I had already been working in a law firm for like 3 years before I even got the accreditation to become an official lawyer. So I knew what it was like. I knew what a law office was like, what my future would look like as well. I knew, okay, in 5 years, you're going to be on this certain salary and you're going to climb up the corporate ladder and this is where you're going to be. So there was something inside of me that just wasn't too happy about knowing exactly what my future would look like, and there not being much room for creativity, for new ideas, for innovation, all of those different things that kind of make you feel alive. So I remember actually calling my mom and telling her, look, I'm going to book a one-way ticket to Thailand was the plan. And I'm going to travel for as long as I can, because luckily I had already had savings because I'd always been working next to my studies. She was like, all right, I guess go for it. And then, you know, you're going to come back to your job. And I was like, yeah, sure. And shortly after, I already found my clients. So that's how it went down for me.
You mentioned about the savings aspect of what you do, because a lot of people have also don't want to get stuck in their job, but they're scared or maybe weary about the financial aspect of it, because there are people in this side that, oh, live life on your own terms, but 3 months later they end up with nothing because they spent everything already and things didn't go well. And then on the other side you have people that no, I have to be responsible, I have to be secure, but they're very very miserable on what they're doing on their job. So from a very very, very balanced aspect, strategically or mentally, how was it for you that, okay, this savings, this investments, I'm okay with this already, this is enough for me? Or did you like save up for this much before you took also the leap that, okay, I'm not going back to my job anymore?
I don't think I had planned it out or was very strategic about it, as I probably should have been, you know. I knew I had some savings, and, you know, in my back mind, I always had a plan B. If everything goes not well, then I knew I could always come back to Australia and take up a lawyer position and get straight back on a salary, so to speak. So my position is very different, I would say, to people who, you know, maybe don't have a qualification or anything to fall back on that quickly. But I had that in my back pocket, and that made me kind of feel more secure about my decision of just going and seeing what was going to happen. Now, the difference for me is definitely that once I decided to go, I pretty much immediately was presented with a new income stream, and, you know, having clients. And I actually had clients on a retainer, which means they would pay me on a monthly basis and I would be, you know, their consultant. So that having clients on a retainer was just like a breather, because I knew, like, okay, even with this one client, I know, like, at least in Asia, I will be able to continue my travels and to continue to explore different places, which was what I wanted to have. So, and for those people, I would say, you know, that don't necessarily have that, I see in this day and age so many people who are also able to actually go and travel, and they go on things such as work away, where they exchange their skills to get like accommodation, or, you know, they will do like a hotel's social media in exchange for being able to stay there. And I've seen a lot of people, you know, build up their skills while also kind of getting compensation that way, and still being on the road and travel, get new experiences, meet new people.
Were you mainly focused on the cash flow, or did you also focus on I need to have this much savings, at least this buffer to protect me? Or you were thinking that, oh, as long as this retainer is in, I have clients, money will just be coming in, I can there doesn't need to be a lot of emphasis on the savings that I have as well?
I was mainly focused on the client and kind of getting the word out there as well. And through one client, you know, I was then introduced to another client, which led to another job. But I would say that first year that I was on the road as like a digital nomad, I was very much not focused on one thing, you know, the way that I am now and the way that I run my business now. Because first of all, I was super excited about traveling and being on the road, discovering all these different new places. And secondly, I also was traveling with my partner, and he had a completely different job to me. You know, I came from the corporate world. I had always been in an office, and he is a travel blogger. And I was like, please teach me everything that you know about, you know, social media, blogging, like, so I was very much focused on that, and also learning all those new skills that eventually helped me as well, you know, build up my own platforms with my line of work. And so there were all those different things. And when I started out, I actually was also consulting for another firm back at home. They put me on as a contractor, which was super nice. And then I was even doing like, I was reviewing PhD theses for university students, basically. So I was doing lots of different things, and I was definitely not focused. You know, I was just trying to bring in more cash flow so that I could stay longer on the road. That was always the goal, you know, to just continue this lifestyle of traveling and having, you know, different income streams, so to speak.
To everyone watching this, I think that's a very, very good point, that cash flow is so important, because people emphasize a lot on savings, investments, which are all good, but it's very, very important to have that stream running, because that will allow you also to gives you the liberty that you don't have to be stressed, or you don't have to be anxious also on how long you could possibly continually doing what you're doing. So I think that's why it worked for you also, because from a business standpoint, you were doing very, very, very well as well. Now, from your life as a lawyer stationed in one place, and now on jumping from one place to another, how do you handle your finances from a finance standpoint? How does it normally go? Because one place will be more expensive than another. Then one place, probably there might be other things that you might need to purchase or use there because you're in another country. How does that go? Because Kathy, I've been pretty much a planner my whole life. I started budgeting since I graduated in 2005. So I've like been budgeting, saving for 17 years now, and everything has been so. I'm Mr. Excel. Everything has been structured with graphs, charts, and numbers. And hearing your story on how it's not structured, that you're in one place and different places at a time. How does it work?
I would say I used to be very much like you. You know, when we started traveling, I had an Excel spreadsheet of our next 3 months with exactly which night we would spend in which hotel, and, you know, where we would be, which buses and trains we would have to catch and whatnot. So I totally get where you're coming from, and that you're so organized, because that was me. But I think being on the road and traveling so much, and when I say traveling so much, like definitely for the first couple of years, we would never spend longer in one place than 3 nights. So, you know, it's being constantly on the road, switching places, accommodations, even countries, and we would hop around from Europe to Africa to Asia to Latin America. So being on the road so much definitely taught me to kind of let go of me wanting to control things the way I wanted to be, you know, on top of everything, because different things happen when you're on the road and when you're traveling so much, things that you can't necessarily predict. So now I would say I'm definitely much more a just go with the flow person. And it very much depends as well on what our businesses are doing. So as I mentioned, my partner is actually a travel blogger. So he gets invited a lot of times to different countries to blog about them, which also kind of determines where we're going. And as well for me, you know, I do speaking engagements, or like I meet up with like some VIP clients or whatnot. So that also kind of determines where I want to go and who I want to meet with, partner accountants and lawyers that I meet with. So it's not very much strategic, definitely not. And we usually know certain places where we will be for longer time, I would say. So now, for example, Bali and Mexico have kind of become our home bases, if you will, although we never really spent more than 4 months there. So if we really need a break, or, you know, a breather really to work on our businesses, we usually tend to go to those places. We love them. You know, I love beaches and oceans and surfing and also nature. And both of those places have that. And plus also, they also pretty cheap, which also, you know, factors in that we can stay there for a long time without our budget straining so much.